Hi everyone, Karen here. I hope you've enjoyed going through the swords, pentacles and cups. Now we're going to go through the wands. Wands haven't really strayed too far away from their traditional meaning. Wands is our innate inspiration. And again, we're getting the hand from the Creator, God, Universe, Source, handing us a gift. Now the gift is our creative force, our natural creative force. Now, a lot of people may think, I'm not artistic, I'm not a singer or I'm not that talented. But creativity can come from cooking. It can come from gardening. It doesn't have to always come from art or singing. It doesn't have to come from a talent like that. Just the normal things that we do. If someone has a problem, we automatically think of a creative way for a solution for them. So that's the innate inspiration that we have. We get inspired every day by something. We may get inspired by the weather, someone else's talent. We could get inspired by, whatever we're doing in the gardening, or again, cooking, or just how we're looking after the family, how we're looking after ourselves. So that's what, our innate inspiration is, the inspiration, our innate creativity that comes through. Now, to start off, I'd like to read you just a little part of the workbook that starts off. It's called the Birth of Inspiration. And that's basically, the birth of inspiration is the Ace of Wands. Everyone has a stick of inspiration growing within, born from the aethers of time, fed by the stream of consciousness flowing through us all. The spark appearing from the aethers lands in our mind's eye, waiting to be moulded into a tangible item that exudes brilliance, shared with all who long for inspiration. Other times it's discarded like an old stick thrown on the woodpile of life. We feel it burning away at times. We try to negate the feeling it gives us with doubts and feelings of not being good enough to birth the future representation of our desire, which when manifested in the material realm, others can gain much pleasure, wisdom, and a feeling that a piece of the puzzle has now been connected for them. When you go into, art galleries or your sculptures, or you see, talent on TV, people singing, sometimes it stirs something within us. So going from the creative spark that people have, that we all have, when it stirs something up within us, we're connecting to that thing, that piece of art, the person, or the sculptor, or whoever it is. We've got that connection because it sort of sparks, it gives us that spark to start lighting up within us. So this is basically the birth of inspiration, with Source handing us and says, okay, I give you this energy here. I give you the energy of creativity. Give you the energy of inspiration. Let me see what you can do with it, because I know that you can do wonders with it, because I, the Creator, have given it to you. I'll give you hints along the way that will help you awaken to this inner passion that you have. And it's up to us to sort of look at the signs and symbols along the way. And then, there's times, there's been times where people have gone through such tragedy, that they child trafficking comes to mind. It's something that's a passion that they do have, and they're inspired to assist. Working with domestic violence victims, working with children, I know they had a brother and sister program at one stage. I don't know whether they still have it, but it's the inspiration to help others, whether it be in art form, whether it be in service to others, even nurses, that help people. So this is the divine spark that's given to us all. So here's our original idea, and it's like, okay, I've got this idea here. I'm going to start moving forward with it. So the Two of Wands is kind of like saying, well, where am I going to take it? Here I have the original idea here. I'm keeping it safe. I'm locking it to the battlements of my castle. And this is what I'm going to take with me. And I'm just checking the world to see where I can take it. Where's the best place for me to start? And then we have the idea. So we've gone out into the world. We've taken our idea out into the world. And we're at a little bit of a crossroads, because there it is. The original idea is behind us. It's still there with us. But we've sort of grown it a little bit. There's a little bit more. We've taken it to as far as we can on the earth here. Now it seems we're taking it out internationally, because there's the water and there's some ships in there coming through. This card reminds me of, I don't know whether anyone's read The Prophet. The Prophet is leaving his island where he's been for such a long time. And he knows he needs to leave and go to the island on the other side. And he's waiting for his ships to come in. But in the meantime, he's sitting down with the community that he created on the island that he was on. And he's telling them stories. And he's giving them, telling them stories about life. There's a story about love. There's a story about marriage. There's a story about children, story about work. There's all these different, they're kind of like, I won't say they're parables, but they're very wise in the little paragraphs that they do have. It's quite a good read if you come across the Prophet. Sorry, I'm a little bit tired. I've been working today. I've been up since 3. I've been working today, so if I seem a little bit slow, that's why. But a good read. It's a good read. And so when you sort of see this card, always, as I said, it always reminds me of the Prophet. He knows he needs to leave where he is and go to another island where there's people that he doesn't even know yet. So this is what sort of, this is how I name this card, because he's looking over the vast ocean. He's already sort of, traipsed around the local area, but now he's going further afield. So now with the Four of Wands, you can see him gone over the other side of the world, basically to a new place, he's found his crowd, he's found his kin there in the background, and he's crossed the bridge to a new world, a new land. He's quite happy because he's found someone he can spend his life with there. Whether he brought her with him from the island before or he met her there. But it's something that, he's building a foundation. You can see 4 is the number of foundation. And this looks like a Jewish chuppah. It's what they get married under. And there's a bit of a celebration there. So he's gone to the other side of the land. And he's now building a new foundation for his inspired, his inspired action, his inspiration. He's inspired to sort of travel the world and go further. But then what happens, there's a little bit of a mind confusion. So you've got all these ideas here. There he is there. He's got his wand up in the air saying, hey, this is the way to go. But the other ideas are coming in. It's kind of like scrambling his brain, saying, well, we should do it like this, or I think it's better done like that. Those times where you get confused. Excuse me. When you have a plan and you want to move forward with it, but then other thoughts come in the way. And it's a matter of sort of moving each thought out of the way, because we're not really our thoughts. They're just things that come in, sort of bombard us and to sort of distract us, to take us off our, original pathway. So there's a little bit of a confusion here. But he's up there, you know, with his stick in his hand saying, you know, come this way. This is the way we need to go. Then on the Six of Wands, he finally gets everyone together because there's a bit of victory here. And it's like, okay, now we're all moving, excuse me, in one direction. We're on our way. There's green there, blanket over the horse. So there's growth. And of course, he's got his red cloak on, which is his passion. And he's holding his idea there. So he's still holding strong and moving with the people. So there's people coming along that support him. It's like when we sort of build our own community sometimes. You know, we hold strong, and we've got our idea here, and this is, you know, what we want to do, and this is where we want to take it. And the community is coming along with you as well. So you've got your ideas, your inspiration, you're inspired, and everyone's moving in the same direction. Everyone's on the same page, which is fantastic. Now we have the Seven of Wands. Now, we don't see any people down below. Even, you know, like in the Six of Wands, we see people down below. There's kind of like, you know, it could be different old ideas coming up. So he's on a war of his own, you know. He's kind of like trying to protect himself, and he's got his original idea up here. But it's all like all these old, you know, thoughts are coming up, these old ideas, and he's sort of trying to sort of push them away because his idea is here. And just like the Magician card, I've got the Magician card here. He has his hands pointed as above, so below. And you can see he's basically in the same stance. So he's got that spiritual aspect, the spiritual law with him. Excuse me. Knowing that, you know, as above, so below. So he wants to keep on moving forward with his original idea that he had, instead of bringing other things in there with him. Now the Eight of Wands is here. There's no one in this card. You do see a faint glimmer of the little house at the back, just like you did on the Ace of Wands. So it's sort of a little bit reminiscent of the Eight of Wands, but the Eight of Wands now has sort of, you know, multiplied into separate wands that are sort of coming in fast. But what these also are is kind of like milestones. So you may have, you know, 1 month, I want this to occur in my inspiring idea. In 2 months, I want this to occur. So they're kind of like milestones on the way. In 6 months, I want this to happen. So they're like mile markers. So initially, when we get our initial inspiring idea, and Source says to us, okay, here's your inspiring idea, your creativity. Now take it as far as you can. But I'm going to give you clues as to where to go next. And this is what these are. These are the clues. These are kind of like the mile markers, because you've sort of planted them. They have been planted before you were handed this. Once you took this idea, these wands, 8 wands, they got planted in certain areas, so that once you read the signs and symbols, but also you have these mile markers for yourself. And once you get to certain points, you identify where you are and what you need to do next. So that's all part of the divine plan as well, because Source doesn't just let us go and say, well, off you go. Source gives us these signs and symbols. And so, you know, we have angelic beings as well, you know, coming to assist us. You know, sometimes you may run into someone and they say something, and what they say, it triggers something within you. It's like, aha, now I know what that means. Sometimes they're there to nudge us as well. You get so much help from the universe because you've got that inspiring idea to move forward. You've got your plans in place. You've done your research, your groundwork. You've got your mile markers there. And the universe responds and says, well, I know this is what you want, and I'm going to place this here in the 9th month. You know, there'll be a bit of a leap from here to here, you know, but this is where you're going to see things are working out for you. You will see little glimpses along the way that things are working out for you, but then you get distracted again by, you know, other thoughts that come through. But at the 9th month mark, that's when you'll definitely see that everything's slowly coming together. And it's through our inspiration and our passion for what we do, the universe responds. So and then we get the 9 of Wands. We've still got that original idea there, even though it's been hard slog to get there. There's the 8 Wands behind, which can be, you know, the mile markers behind. But it's also knowing that you've gone from the Ace of Wands to the 8 of Wands. And it's been pretty hard. Yeah, it said a pretty hard slog. Because sometimes things will crop up that you don't realise. You may have, you know, feel very emotional about certain things. And then it's sort of because as you move forward, emotions will start to arise in you that you've thought that you've dealt with before, but they'll still come up for you to deal with them. So this is what this guy's feeling. He's feeling a bit battered and bruised because he knows that, you know, it has been a hard slog. He has had to stand up for himself. He has had to tell people, no, I'm not going that way, I'm going this way. He has had to cop a bit of flack from people for him standing up for himself because he has this idea, this inspiring idea, and he wants to move forward with it. And then we get to the 10 of Wands, which looks a little bit burdensome. But to me, I feel that's all the experiences, you know, that you've gathered along the way. And now you've got everything that you need to start building. The 10s are at the end of the cycle. 9s are actually the end of a cycle. But it's nearly there. It's not over until you actually get to the 10. And 2026 being a 10 year is coming to an end of a cycle, but it's also a beginning of a new cycle. So you may find this year that, you know, there are some endings happening over the past 10 years. You may have something coming up over, you know, from 5 years ago or 7 years ago that you find is ending to allow the new beginnings to start. So it's the same with the 10 of Wands as well. It's like the end of everything coming into fruition, but it's the beginning of, you know, planting a great, because you've got that great foundation there. And then again, we come to the court cards, the pages being the messengers and the students. So he's looking at the wand there. He knows it can bring him a lot of inspiring ideas. He knows it'll bring him a lot of growth. But he needs to understand the fire, because wands relate to fire energy. And with fire energy, as you know, with, you know, bushfires, when they get out of control, they just run, you know, they just go. And it's very hard to stop them, even with, you know, hundreds of firefighters there. And that's the energy of the fire. Sometimes we can get so revved up with this inspiring idea that we can run headlong into, you know, wanting it all done, wanting it all finished. And then sometimes that's when we get hit you know, thrown back on our butt again because we've forgotten things along the way. So it's a matter of understanding this energy, fire energy, and just keeping it, you know, not bubbling on the surface, but just keeping it, you know, just putting a log on, putting something on that's going to sort of keep you interested, putting another log on to keep it burning, you know, finances, to keep the finances going, keep our emotions in check, to keep our emotion on top of our emotions so we keep moving forward. Keep an eye on people around us, distractions, you know, move the distractions away so we keep moving forward, but not sort of pushing everything out the way so we just move forward. So it is an understanding of the fire energy. Then we have the Knight of Wands, who has a bit of an idea of this fire energy. Again, knights, they take messages to other parts of the county, other castles, and but the Knight of Wands here is still protected. He's got his armour on. He's got his salamanders, which salamanders are transformative creatures, like lizards, salamanders. He's got the red coming out of his, you know, the red flames coming out. He's understood what this energy is about. He knows it's not a matter of, you know, screaming forward like the Knight of Swords, but he knows he can sort of take leaps and bounds. Once he sort of gets certain information, he can sort of take a leap forward. And this is the energy that once we start to embody this energy, that helps us move forward. That helps us understand where we can move forward quickly and where we need to sort of sit and let the kettle boil, you know, let the water bubble. So there's still a lot more growth on his stick. So he knows that each time he moves forward or takes a leap, there's more, you know, growth for him, whether it be spiritual growth, emotional, mental growth, growth in the different ways of thought. But yeah, he's got a good handle on the energy. And then we come to the masculine and feminine sides of us. So, because once we start embodying the fire energy of wands, this is sort of, you know, the energy that we can embody ourselves. We're the Queen of Wands. She's very confident. She's very alive. She's passionate about what she does. She's very knowledgeable. She knows when to, you know, strike. She strike while the iron's hot, as I say. And she knows when to sit down, sit back, and just let everything sort of do things on its own. You know, allow it to sort of, you know, calm down, move forward. And the king, I find the king a very industrious king. He's into enterprises. He knows what's a good deal. He knows, he rules his country or his kingdom, let's say his kingdom, with, he's pretty fair. But again, sometimes he can have that scorched earth policy where if it's not good enough, just burn the thing down and start again, which sometimes is a good thing and sometimes it's not. It's a bit of a pain. But he looks after his kingdom. He looks after the people in his kingdom. He creates things that are good for him and also good for the people in his kingdom. So they both, even the Queen of Wands, she makes sure everyone's looked after. They have that fiery magnetism with them. So that's the King and Queen of Wands. So as I said, the wands didn't really deviate too far away from what their traditional meaning was. Not like the swords being our moral authority, or the pentacles being about material wealth, the earthly things. But they are about the, you know, our energetic currency, our innate energetic currency, our essence, energetic essence, As I said, sorry, I'm a bit tired. So if I repeat myself, I'm thinking I'm not getting the words out right. Or even the cups, which is our vessel, you know, what we hold in our vessel and how we see others, because everyone is a mirror, you know, so everyone is mirroring. When we see other people, they're mirroring who we are. And that's one way to sort of, as I said, understand ourselves better and understand where our thoughts are, where our feelings are. But I hope you've enjoyed going through the suits. As I said, this is something that came to me on my healing journey, and it helped me sort of understand who I was and where my creativity lies, and what I need to strengthen within myself, and also, you know, where I put my energy, where do I put, and how can I, you know, improve my energy. So I'll leave that there, and I'll jump on another day and sort of have another discussion about the course and just the suits, and also do some readings as well. So I'll put everything in the description box. I've got a platform on School, and I've got some preview of the workbooks on there. And I've also got a website, and I've got preview of the workbooks on there. So I'll put the links in the description box. So please like, subscribe. And if you have any comments or anything, just put them in the comment section and I will reply to them as soon as I can. Thank you for listening this far, and take care. Bye-bye.